Hail and welcome to the Four Directions. May my podcast be a blessing of love, light, new beginnings, and hope and peace for the universe. Toward the One, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the message, the mystery, the miracle, the Mother, the Spirit of guidance. Everything lost is found again, in a new form, in a new way. Everything hurt is healed again, in a new time, in a new day. Change is, touch is. Touch is, change is. Change us, touch us, touch us, change us. Welcome to Star Circle, Season 2, Episode 23. I'm going to share with you a prayer compiled by Prema Dasara from a Bardo Prayer given to her by her Lama Tenzin, and also information from Sogyal Rinpoche's book, the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. If you would like to support Prema Dasara's work, you may make a donation at taradhatu.org. That's TARADHATU.org. Thank you. If you are able to support my podcast, it would be greatly appreciated. Anchor has a system where you may do a recurring donation of 99 cents, $4.99, or $10 or $9.99. And of course, you could discontinue at any time. Go to anchor.fm/REVDRJUDE to set that up. And thank you very much. The Bardo Prayer, Preparing for Death. Myself and all beings that equal the sky take refuge in the three jewels. Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, deliver us from the fears of present, future, and intermediate lives. This precious human life, so difficult to find, so easily destroyed, determines our suffering or happiness. Without distraction, I undertake the great purpose of enlightenment. This life is impermanent. All things change. The time of death is uncertain. May I cease the suffering and confusion of mind regarding thoughts of grasped and grasping the impurity of the four elements, the illusory nature of the five aggregates, and all conditions that cause death, the suffering of separating the consciousness and cutting the essence of life. May I cease confused states of mind, the cause of non-virtuous action, and the cherishing of this body, and not let them deceive me. When Yama manifests, may I not commit suicide by the weapons of ignorance, attachment, and anger. May I remember at death, happy and confident, the advice of my spiritual friends. May I remember at death, happy and confident, the advice of my spiritual friends. May I generate powerful, virtuous mind as the elements of earth, water, fire, and air disappear into each other. The physical heat drives in, and the breath is dense with much sound. May I realize the deathless essence. Stop the illusionary thoughts arising from the three poisons, ignorance, attachment, and anger, that make up the 80 illusory thoughts. May strong mindfulness arise when my senses cease to function and cannot distinguish sounds, shapes, smells, tastes, or feelings. May I recognize the dissolution of the aggregate of form as the earth element dissolves. Our body loses strength. We cannot get up or stay upright or hold anything. We feel we are falling, sinking underground, being crushed. We are heavy and uncomfortable. As the earth element dissolves into the water element, the secret sign is a vision of a shimmering mirage. I will visualize the goddess at my heart. May I recognize the dissolution of the aggregate of feeling as the water element dissolves. We lose control of our body fluids. We feel as if we are drowning in an ocean or being swept away by a river. As the water element dissolves into the fire element, the secret sign is a haze with swirling wisps of smoke. I will visualize the goddess at my navel. May I recognize the dissolution of the aggregate of perception as the fire element dissolves. Our mouth and nose dry up. We can't drink or eat. We feel as we are being consumed in flames, a roaring blaze. As the fire element dissolves into the air element, the secret sign is shimmering red sparks dancing above an open fire. I will visualize the goddess in my forehead. May I recognize the dissolution of the aggregate of intellect. As the air element dissolves, it becomes hard to breathe. One rasps and pants. The eyes roll up and we become immobile. We hallucinate and have visions. If there is negativity in our lives, we see terrifying forms. If there are positive acts of kindness, we see friends and blissful visions. We experience a great wind sweeping away the world as the air element dissolves into consciousness, and the secret sign is flaming torch with a red glow. I will then transfer my consciousness into the wisdom mind of the goddess. Then the blood gathers and enters the channel of life in the center of the heart. 3 drops of blood collect, and with 3 long out breaths, the breath ceases. The inner dissolution of respiration commences. The Father's white semen descends from the head to the heart. There is an experience of whiteness, a full moon. The awareness becomes clear. All 33 states of anger dissolve. The stage of appearance. The mother's red essence ascends from the navel to the heart. There is an experience of redness like a blazing sun. Great bliss arises. All 40 desire thoughts dissolve. The stage of increase. The white and red drops meet in the heart with consciousness between them. There is an experience of blackness. The mind becomes free of thoughts and ignorance, ends the phase of full attainment. The ground of luminosity dawns. The mind is the clear light of death. The primordial ground of our absolute nature is revealed. Consciousness itself dissolves into the all-encompassing space of truth. May I recognize the vast and subtle depth of its naked simplicity. Let me not react, grasping or in fear. Let me prepare daily to purify and stabilize the mind. The arising of the ground luminosity is like the clarity in the sky just before dawn. Then gradually the sun of Dharmata begins to rise. The natural radiance of Ripa manifests spontaneously and blazes out as energy and light. I will take on a body of light. This is the first phase of this bardo, when space dissolves into luminosity. May I recognize these radiant manifestations as my own mind's nature. Then the simple rays and colors coalesce into trickles, with which the mandalas of the peaceful and wrathful deities appear as enormous spherical concentrations of light, seeming to occupy the whole of space. This is the second phase, luminosity dissolving into union. 5 shafts of light join our heart with theirs, and the deities dissolve into me. The next phase unfolds, union dissolving into wisdom. A shaft of light springs out from my heart, and displays of wisdom aspects appear in a show of unfurled carpets of light. All dissolves into the radiant sphere of light, which is like a canopy of peacock feathers. Then the final phase of the bardo of Dharmata arises, wisdom dissolving into generous presence. All of reality presents itself in one tremendous display. First primordial purity dawns, then the peaceful and wrathful deities, followed by the pure realms of the Buddhas. Below them the smoky lights of the 6 realms of the samsaric existence. May I recognize these manifestations as my own mind's nature. The vision dissolves into itself. Resting in non-duality, I will experience liberation. I will not respond with fear or hope. I will not be led into disillusion. Then the Sipa Pardo, the bardo of becoming arises, as if earth and sky were separating again. We assume a mental body endowed with immense clarity and unlimited mobility, but utterly gripped by past karma. Nothing occurs here as a conscious decision. Buffeted by the karmic wind, if we have lived a positive life, there will be some positive experience. If our life was harmful to others, we will be tormented. The power of thought is overwhelming. I will focus single-mindedly on thoughts of loving compassion. I will invoke the goddess with one-pointed devotion and liberate my mind into the space of her wisdom and mind. I will not be distracted. Abandoning all emotion, recognizing all phenomenon as illusory, I will not be lured by the dim lights of the lower realms. Should I wish to be reborn, to pursue my spiritual practice and be of benefit to others, I will cultivate this deep aspiration, visualizing myself as the glorious goddess. I will bless the womb, re-experiencing the signs of the phases of dissolution and the dawning of the ground luminosity. I will take birth. Thus may I manifest the bodies of truth, bliss, and compassion. Blessed teachers, divine goddess, bless me that I may manifest the 3 bodies of a Buddha by completing a life of holding the knowledge of tantric practices through ascetic conduct, discipline, and ethics, concentration and insight, and the culmination of the path of generation and completion. Let me constantly and consistently apply the 5 forces in life, the force of impetus, the 2 bodhicittas are always in mind, the force of familiarization. Maintain mindfulness and awareness on keeping the 2 bodhicittas in mind. The force of virtuous seeds, all faculties concentrated on virtue. The virtue of repudiating thoughts of ego obsession. The force of aspiration, always dedicate virtuous activity. In death, virtuous seeds give away all possessions without trace of attachment. Aspiration, make enlightenment the single focus of aspiration. Repudiation, ego obsessions are the cause of suffering. Nothing dies. Destroy ego clinging. Familiarization, bring clearly to mind the 2 bodhicittas. Impetus, I will never be without the 2 bodhicittas. Thus do I prepare for death by invoking the blessings of all my teachers and the glorious goddess, Sarva Mangalam. May all beings have a peaceful, easeful death, awakening into the bliss of enlightened mind. Beloved one, Almighty Goddess, through the rays of the sun and moon, through the waves of the air and sea, through the all-pervading life in nature and space, purify and revivify us, and we pray, heal our bodies, hearts, and souls. O thou who art the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the Lord of heaven and Mother Earth, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly comes from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful and compassionate Goddess, give us thy great goodness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Raise us above the distinctions and differences which divide. Send us the peace of thy divine Spirit, and unite us all in thy perfect being. The circle is open, but never broken. May the love of the Goddess be forever in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again.